Morning. So this one's going out as a short, sharp video, again on the sedan. We're just finishing off the pipework today. Got a single bracket to fabricate. I'll explain more why that's only going to be a single bracket. And then we've just got the pipework to bead. And then hopefully we're moving on to bigger and better things. So, roll the intro. Right, so as I said at the start, we're only doing a single bracket. My reasoning for that is I feel that the pipework actually needs to be in the sedan to get these brackets done properly. There's only one in there which is going to be a permanent fixture on the engine, and that is the one which comes off the bottom of the vacuum pump. That's the one we know will not change no matter what engine that is put on. And there we go. This is pretty much where we left the pipework the last time. Now, in my head, this does want 2 or 3 brackets in certain places, but the problem is moving this from this engine bay into the sedans. There still could be variation in between the models, and of course the clutter I've actually got going on. So the other engine bay, I've got stuff like sub fuses and stuff mounted on the front there, and there could be other clearance issues. Not only that, I do need to make sure that it mounts up sturdy. So my thoughts were, when it goes into the sedan, is that there'll be a mount added on this 3-inch induction pipe straight onto the bottom of the battery box to actually support this. At the moment, I've got a feeling, yeah, I left it on a bit of pipe, which is why it looks so nicely positioned at the moment. And the same for this top boost pipe. This top boost pipe, I feel like it could just do with a bracket, maybe off the pump here and everything. But of course, you know, when you're adjusting the timing on these pumps, the advanced retard, these do actually rock the bracket slightly. So, I mean, really, I should slot the hole on whatever bracket I make for the boost pipe so it can move with the pump. But at the moment, I would rather just leave that until it's actually in the sedan. Right, so to bead the pipework, I've got a nice little tool. It's one of those American jobber-do things. If you actually look at them, they're nothing more than just a modified set of mold grips. I mean, you could literally make one of these at home with any mold grips. It's just extended handle, vice mount, and then, yeah, the bit to do the beading on the end, which you can see it's just the nose cut off. Now, I like to use this to do stainless, but I have also got this little pipe beader. I do find though that this thing absolutely struggles with stainless. I literally tried to reserve it for aluminium only. Cheap Chinese, don't really want to bust it. This, pretty robust, it will get the job done. Right, so this thing's pretty easy to use. It's literally a case of whack it in the vise, make sure the vise is done up, set your amount of crush like you'd set normal vise jaws, and then give it half a dozen of them whilst rotating the pipe, and hopefully you're going to be somewhere there. With stainless, I do like to put a little bit of a tickle of heat into it, just so the metal is slightly more malleable while I'm doing it. Right, so that's the first pipe now beaded up. Hasn't come out too badly. The only problem is though, it does distort the end of the pipe because you're effectively crushing it a small section at a time, and of course you're stretching one part whilst attempting to shrink the other. So yeah, we've got the other end in there as well. The other end isn't as harsh, and You can now see I didn't cut that so straight as I thought. But yeah, anyway, so that is effectively one boost pipe now done. Right, now the next bit to remove is going to be this induction. Now, with the induction, I don't actually need to bead this pipework, mainly because the induction is only ever under vacuum, which means these silicones will always be sucked down, making a better seal anyway, so does away with the need for that. Of course, I've just actually realised I don't have any oil breather lines going back in either, so that is something I'm going to have to look at adding later on. Not quite sure where the position of that is going to end up, so for now, let's just get this all back off, and we shall continue looking at what we need to. Now the next bit to look at is indeed this boost pipe along here. So I need some kind of bracket on this pipe just here to guarantee that that doesn't sandwich the heat matrix pipe back here against the bulkhead. So that should just stop any movement across there then. Now I'm planning on, so I've repeatedly talked about this little nut under here. It's not going to zoom in now, there we go. So I've repeatedly talked about this vacuum pump nut, and that's the one I intend on mounting off. So all I'm thinking is a nice little L-shaped bracket just to come straight back to this pipe, just to brace it. More than anything, it's to stop the forwards and backwards movement and to lock it to the engine. The only bits we want moving are actually from this silicone forward. So, got a length of stainless, and we're going to have to experiment bending some different angles up, and it's going to be a wing it, fuck around and find out moment. Right, so I bent up this little bracket quickly, and that will be for the top boost pipe. So, try and do this while holding the camera. But roughly, she should go something like that, and then that will give more than enough support to this boost pipe to stop it going backwards and forwards. Luckily, it is in line with that weld as well, so it gives me a nice reference point when it now comes to welding it. Right. And just like that, that's that bracket now welded on. So I did end up back purging the pipe, obviously because welding to this thin wall pipe, it'll be pushing the filler through. And that's that pipe now chucked back in. So as you can see, fitment is pretty much damn spot on. It's now taken the pressure off this heater matrix pipe. Yes, it does still look very tight back there, but this one's kind of a necessary evil. Obviously there's no nut on there at the moment. Once that's actually pulled into place as well, all this literally perfectly links up. And with this being bolted, it actually gives a nice bit of support to this front pipe down here as well. Now, I might end up just taking a segment out of there just to allow the silicone a little more wiggle room. But apart from that, I think it's going to be, well, apart from the fact I still need to bead it, it's going to be that bottom pipe pretty much done. On to other things. Of course, now I've got to address this breather pipe at some point. So, got the original breather which comes off the oil filler pot just there, and that would traditionally go into what I believe is called a PCV valve, which would sit mounted on the top mount intercooler just about there, and then it pipes into the induction. Now, I've got a couple of options I can sort of explore and go down. One of them being catch can. I mean, personally, I don't like catch cans. I don't like when these are left to breathe to atmosphere. Yes, they should collect the oil. You've got like drain bung, oil filler level on the side and stuff like that. But if anyone here has ever run one of these before, you know you still see oil bubbling out the top of these filters, and it still dribbles down these, and it makes a horrible mess of the engine bay. The only way I would happily run this is to basically pipe this bit straight back into the induction. But then we're kind of defeating the object of the catch can. Yes, it will catch the oil before it goes back into the inlet, but being a dirty old diesel, these don't actually mind a little bit of oil going back in. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is just literally using the original PCV valve, if it is that, or if it is called that, someone can correct me in the comments, and just put that straight over into the induction. I'll try and do something smart, maybe make a nice little mount here, and then get some piping and everything else sorted. But apart from that, we've just got to bead those pipes up now. So after that little montage, this is now the kit I'm left with. So, just a quick rundown. This is the induction pipe, which comes on the inside of the runners, straight into big 3-inch induction. Then we've got the Gt20 turbo. So this is on one of the adapters what I designed. And then to finish it off and make it fit with all this front mount stuff, I've had to cut and weld, or have welded, an elbow on it. And then of course I've got all the boost pipe work. So the boost pipe comes out of the turbo at 2-inch. So I've continued that. That gave me more clearance on the actual bulkhead. And then I've upsized it to 2¼ inch for the rest of the boost pipes. Now, the reason for this is most factory Peugeots, XUDs with the top mount intercooler, not top mount intercooler, with the front mount intercooler, such as a 406, all these are 2¼ inch. So it only seemed right to finish the boost pipes in the same size. But reason I actually pulled them all out, we're not quite finished. There's a couple of other bits to do, but hopefully in the next few episodes we will be starting to get back on with this old gal. So this is indeed the V&T setup for the estate. The 4-to-1 manifold what I made nearly a year ago now. But now I've got to start making downpipes. I've got an external wastegate to try and cram in there somehow. And a few other bits and pieces to do with that. So from now on that will probably be the videos for this. And then the sedan, I'm hoping in a couple of weeks time that I can start getting some of these bits on. So there may be some sedan videos just to finish this off as well. So hopefully that is now most of the stuff done for the sedan. There's a couple of little bits and pieces to do in between. But to be fair, I need to get the car rolled in here and I need to actually be working on it to finalise certain bits and pieces such as oil breathers and stuff like that. Hoping that in the next week or so I can actually start getting back on with the estate again. That's the one I want to be working on, but of course with the sedan I want to use it for shows again this year, so it's taking priority. But as per normal guys, cheers for watching, cheers for putting up with my waffle, and give us a like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. That's me done for the day, and I'll catch you later.